Tell me you down there at the Fat Burger fighting over Tiny. Now that's T.I., man. You gonna cause you to buy more guns than
One photo. That's all it took. Not a diss track, not a press run, not a formal response. Just 50 Cent going to Instagram and posting an unflattering picture of a man's wife. And what happened next turned a Verzouz battle nobody even asked for into the most personal, most chaotic family beef hip-hop has seen in years. Before you understand what exploded in February 2026, you need the full picture of who this family actually is, because most people only know the surface level. T.I., born Clifford Joseph Harris Jr., and Tamika Tiny Cottle have been one of the most visible couples in hip-hop for over 2 decades. They started dating in 2001, got married in 2010, and together they run a household with 7 children. 7. And here's the part most people gloss right over. Those kids don't all share the same biological parents. This is a real blended family, built from multiple relationships on both sides, and somehow they made the whole thing work, at least publicly. On T.I.'s side, before he ever locked things down with Tiny, he already had children with 2 different women. His sons Messiah and Domani were born to LaShawn Dixon. T.I. has talked openly about how learning he was going to be a father redirected him completely, away from the streets and into music. There's a real argument to be made that without that moment, trap music as we know it doesn't exist. Then, just 3 months after Domani was born, T.I. had a daughter named Deja with Reniqua Bram. Deja grew up mostly with her mother, but has since carved out a real presence online as a voice around mental health, which, given everything that came later, makes a lot of sense. On Tiny's side, she came into this relationship already being a mother. Her firstborn, Zonique J. Pullins, was born in 1996 from a previous relationship with Zonnie Pullins. T.I. stepped up as Zonique's stepfather, and by every public account, that bond has been genuine. Zonique followed her mother into music, went solo, and became a mother herself in 2020. Then there are the 3 children T.I. and Tiny had together: King, born August 25, 2004, Major, born May 16, 2008, and their youngest, Iris, born March 26, 2016. But right in between King and Major sits a tragedy that doesn't get mentioned enough. In 2007, Tiny suffered a stillbirth at 6 months pregnant. The baby girl, named Leia Amore, was delivered privately with family present. Tiny has said that period was one of the darkest of her entire life. The family considers Major their rainbow baby, the child who arrived after the loss. So when 50 Cent decided to come for this family in February 2026, he wasn't poking at some simple celebrity couple. He was coming for a household that buried a child, blended multiple families together, and spent over a decade letting VH1 cameras into their home on T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, a show that ran from 2011 to 2017 and documented all of it. The arguments, the love, the co-parenting, the career setbacks, the big moments. People grew up watching these kids on television. That context matters more than most people realize. And those kids have been building their own names independently. Domani isn't just a rapper. He earned a Tony Award nomination for his work on SpongeBob Broadway musical, which most people genuinely don't know. Deja has become a real voice in mental health conversations, and King, the one who became the center of everything in 2026, raps under the name Kidon and has been putting out music independently since 2020. Back in 2023, rumors started circulating online that T.I. wasn't King's biological father. Tiny shut that down fast, calling it the biggest lie she'd ever heard, straight up clickbait, saying she barely even knew the person being named. It went nowhere. But it showed something important. This family has been a target for online gossip for years. What happened in February 2026 was just the loudest version of energy they'd been dealing with for a long time. Now here's where it gets layered, because 50 Cent's decision to post that photo of Tiny didn't come from nowhere. Tiny's name has been dragged into speculation before, most of it either wildly exaggerated or allegedly made up entirely. Before T.I., she had one documented long-term relationship with Zonnie Pullins from around 1992 to 1998. She's also spoken publicly about a brief close moment with Tupac Shakur back in 1994 during Escape's early road days, something she's always described carefully, not as a scandal she's looking to push. The bigger rumor that followed Tiny for years involved Floyd Mayweather Jr. Around 2014, footage reportedly surfaced of T.I. physically confronting Mayweather at a spot in Las Vegas over suspicions about what was allegedly going on between them. T.I. addressed it directly in a 2018 interview, saying she never had a physical relationship with Mayweather, that he was allegedly flirting with her during a difficult stretch in her marriage and she needed that attention at the time. Mayweather reportedly said the same in his own interview. No confirmed proof of anything physical ever surfaced. What is documented, though, is that T.I.'s own reported infidelity was a much bigger factor behind Tiny filing for divorce in December 2016. By summer of 2017, they called it off. By 2025, they were on a yacht in Thailand celebrating their 15th anniversary. By February 2026, they were walking the Grammys together. Whatever nearly broke them stayed in the past, until 50 Cent decided to go digging. To really understand why this beef runs so deep, you have to go back almost 20 years. The single word that sits at the center of it all carries serious weight in hip-hop: snitch. It goes back to 2007 when T.I. was caught on federal weapons charges involving an undercover ATF operation. After pleading guilty and completing extensive community service, he was sentenced to a year and a day and served roughly 10 months. To a lot of people in hip-hop, that math didn't add up, and 50 was very vocal about it. In 2008, he dropped "You So Tough," widely interpreted as referencing someone getting caught with machine guns and walking away with a light sentence.
Well, I can't. My intentions, if I have a problem, my MO, and I would just say something. So it's not really directed at him. It's me taking real life situations, absolutely, for the public to decide.
The message landed loud enough without him saying it directly. But that wasn't even the full picture. In 2008, T.I. appeared in a Crime Stoppers advertisement asking for tips on the 2006 murder of his close friend and assistant, Philaunt Johnson, who was shot and killed during a highway chase after a Cincinnati show. In hip-hop circles, that ad became ammunition against T.I. for years. Then, in 2010, he testified at the trial for that same murder. 50 Cent and others pointed to both the ad and the testimony as alleged proof that T.I. had been cooperating with law enforcement. T.I.'s position has never wavered. His community service was required by the plea deal, his testimony was about the murder of his own friend, and he has consistently stated he never gave information that put any unrelated man away for any amount of time. But in hip-hop, perception outlives the facts almost every single time. And 50 never let it go. Things stayed mostly quiet until Versus talk started heating up, and T.I. began pushing publicly for a catalog versus catalog showdown with 50 hit for hit. By early 2026, he was on Shannon Sharpe and Chad Johnson's Nightcap podcast, making his position crystal clear.
Talking about it again, and he made his position clear.
I said I wanted 50. That's what I said. He don't want no smoke, though. Oh, Lord. I called my man out. He don't want no smoke. He ducking smoke.
And that wasn't the only thing he put on the record.
We were moving around in L.A., man, selling some TV shows and while we were around each other, man, you know what I mean? I said, what you think about that? Like, you want to do that? I said, yes. He was like, all right, cool. So shit. And I told him, I said, well, I'm gonna jump out there first, and then you just gonna jump out there and we'll line it up. Going on. Then that's what it was about. Because now I question you.
According to T.I., there was a private agreement made in L.A. while the two were working on TV deals together, and then 50 allegedly walked it back. That's the version T.I. put out publicly. What did 50 Cent do in response? He didn't drop a single bar. He went straight to Instagram. On February 22, 2026, 50 posted an unflattering photo of Tamika Tiny Harris performing, with a caption telling T.I. to keep his name out of his mouth. He also resurfaced the old Crime Stoppers video and 2010 court footage alongside it, letting the archive do the talking the way only 50 knows how. But that photo of Tiny was the move that changed the temperature entirely. King Harris, 21 years old, a new father himself, and T.I.'s eldest biological son with Tiny, didn't sit down and draft a calculated response. He reacted.
I'm not raised like that. I don't go. I'm not going back my mom. I'm not going.
And then he went somewhere that split the entire internet right down the middle. King brought up 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson, a woman who died in a house fire in 1975 when 50 was only 8 years old. He posted a tombstone graphic online and kept the pressure going. He dropped a diss track called Made Man on February 24th. Then on February 26th, he followed it with Sus, a video where he wore a custom black t-shirt printed with a photo of Sabrina Jackson, lit a blunt on camera, and rapped lines directly about her grave. Damani Harris came in from his own angle with a track called Miss Jackson, sampling Outkast. T.I. dropped War, The Right One, and What Bully, and posted that widely circulated photo of 50 from his extreme weight loss during the filming of All Things Fall Apart in 2011. The entire Harris family was in it together, and the internet genuinely didn't know whether to cheer them on or tell them to pull back. Here's the part that really backfired, though. King also posted what he claimed was 2009 FBI paperwork alleging that 50 had anonymously tipped federal agents about Jimmy Henchman in connection with the murder of Loy Mac Fletcher, a G-Unit affiliate, who was shot and killed in the Bronx in September 2009. He captioned it to flip the snitch narrative that had been weaponized against T.I. for years. The problem, that document had already been debunked. Federal sources connected to the case stated the paperwork was fabricated, never filed, 50 was never interviewed, never listed as a cooperating witness. Henchman's 2017 murder conviction stood on its own wiretap evidence and separate cooperating witnesses, none of it tied to 50. The same document had floated around in previous beefs and never held up. 50 addressed it in a widely circulated clip, calling the paperwork fake and challenging anyone to name one person he'd ever allegedly told on. Shortly after, he began deleting all feud-related content from Instagram and shifted his focus back towards promoting his Broadway production of Joe Turner's Come and Gone, starring Taraji Henson and Cedric the Entertainer, set to open April 25, 2026. Classic 50. Drop the match, walk away, and let it burn behind him. But the fallout wasn't finished. On February 24th, Keena Knowles, mother of Beyoncé, reposted a glamorous video of Tiny praising her grace. No confrontation intended. She was simply supporting a woman who had just been publicly mocked. 50 responded with a post referencing grandmothers getting involved and included a remark widely interpreted as a shot at one of T.I. and Tiny's children who has albinism. He also resurfaced the old Crime Stoppers video and 2010 court footage alongside it, letting the archive do the talking the way only 50 knows how. But that photo of Tiny was the move that changed the temperature entirely. Backlash was immediate. Beyoncé's fan base flooded every platform. Public figures weighed in. Comments condemned the reference to a child. By February 25th, 50 had deleted those posts and cleared the feud content entirely. There was also a strange viral moment when South Fulton Police Department posted on Facebook after reportedly receiving calls about the beef, describing it as a verbal discrepancy of lyrical proportions and tagging the NYPD. For a brief stretch, the entire situation became internet comedy. Another viral clip falsely claimed that T.I. and Tiny's youngest daughter, Iris, had entered the beef with her own singing response. The clip was old and unrelated. The Harris family never involved her. Every direct response came from adults: King, Damani, T.I., and Tiny. Then, on February 26th, King Harris did something unexpected. He posted a public apology, not to 50 Cent, but to Marquise Jackson, 50's eldest son. He admitted his emotions were emotional and unnecessary, acknowledged Marquise had nothing to do with the conflict, and offered to handle things man to man. Marquise never responded publicly, but many observers pointed to it as a rare moment of accountability in the middle of chaos. Meanwhile, Rick Ross jumped into the comments asking for the t-shirt featuring 50's mother in his size. King said he'd send it. Ross and 50 have been on opposite sides since 2008. He wasn't missing that moment. By March 2nd, 2026, the direct exchanges had gone quiet. No new tracks from King, 50 focused on Broadway, T.I. and Tiny remained publicly united. A civil lawsuit filed in January 2024 under California's accountability law, which T.I. and Tiny denied and described as extortion, was dismissed by a federal judge in August of that year. No criminal charges followed investigations by LAPD and Georgia authorities in 2021. As of early 2026, nothing new had surfaced. This is a family whose marriage, children, finances, and legal battles have been public for years. When 50 posted that photo of Tiny, he stepped into an already sensitive history.
I'm just not raised. I wasn't raised by y'all father. My dad is T.I.P. Tip. That's how I'm raised. I don't play like this.
King responded the way a 21-year-old son responds when he feels his family is under attack. He went all in, including places he later acknowledged may have gone too far. And in the end, his decision to publicly separate an innocent person from the conflict and apologize said something just as loud as the diss tracks. The versus never happened. It likely won't. But for one intense week in February 2026, what started as a streaming battle conversation became something far more personal than music. So here's the real question. When someone targets your family the way 50 targeted T.I.'s, where's the line? And did King cross it? Or did he do what any son would do?